Just stood in the wheat shed. Look at the pile of wheat. We've obviously got wheat in this shed, barley in another shed, beans in another shed, and OSR in another one. In the last 7 days, what we've got in the sheds has lost £40,000 because the markets have moved that much, which isn't very good, because if it carries on doing that, then we're going to be well below the cost of production. It nearly is now, so I don't think there's going to be much profit in this year's sales, which is a bit of a shame. It's not only has it lost 40 grand in the last 7 days, since the height of the grey markets in the spring, late early summer, it's probably lost about 330,000, and it's lost most of that value since I ordered my fertilizer. So at the moment I've got a shed full of cheap grain and a shed over there full of expensive fertilizer. The world is just completely upside down, and the egg job's not much better. Anyway, I'm going to go around the other shed. I've got some chalk and I'm going to show you what's going on in the poultry sector at the moment. So obviously we've got avian flu, bird flu, so a lot of sort of flocks are having to be culled, and it's a bit of a shame. So it means that the numbers are dropping, so there's a bit of an egg shortage. But why else is there an egg shortage? It's not all down to avian flu, it's basically down to price and the fact that they can't afford to carry on producing eggs because of the supermarkets. Specifically Sainsbury's isn't giving a fair price for it. So I've got a graph here behind me. I'm going to flip the camera so you can see easier. Basically, that was sort of the beginning of the year. 105 pence a dozen was the price off farm, which is roughly what they cost to produce. Fast forward to now, the farm price has risen by 10 pence, but the production price has risen by 2 pence. So it's costing, farmers are losing 30 pence a dozen on producing it. Now the white line is what Sainsbury's are paying for eggs. Sorry, what Sainsbury's is selling eggs at. So back when we were getting 105, they were selling for £2.50 a dozen. Anyway, they've risen the price up by 70 pence because they're saying obviously things have gone up in price, but they're only paying the farmer 10 pence more. So they're making an extra 70 pence, but only paying an extra 10 pence more. So they're profiting on that extra 60 pence. Well, if you look here, they were already making £1.45 anyway. So now they're making, £2.50 odd at least on top. No, not quite that, is it? Hold on, I can't do the maths in my head quickly. 115 minus 115 off 330. That is 2.15 a dozen they're making, and here they were making 145. So yeah, huge price increases, and Sainsbury's are basically profiting on all that. So if you can only produce eggs for £1.45, you can't afford to fill your sheds with chickens, because otherwise you're going to lose 30 pence a dozen, and after a while that adds up, and it puts you out of business basically. This is the sting in the tail though. Sainsbury's are bringing eggs in from Italy that are cost them nearly £2 a dozen. So they can afford to pay the farmer more, but they don't want to, because they obviously want to keep these low contracts, because I think they think that the price might come back down. So they'd sooner fly them in or whatever or ship them in or truck them in from Italy just to keep up with demand. But we're basically going to see egg rations into the new year, they think now, which is just crazy. We can produce our own eggs, you've just got to pay a fair price for them, and you can afford to do that when you sell them for £3.30 a dozen. But they don't want to, because they want that margin. So the world's gone mad. But like I say, what they're actually paying now to bring them in is even worse. But if they start paying higher, then they're always going to have to pay higher. So it's just a business decision for them. They're obviously kind of like losing money at the moment because they don't want to. They just want to squeeze the UK farmer more. Also, as well, Sainsbury's won't put the red tractor logo on any of their products because they feel that their brand is worth more. So that means that when you're a shopper, you can't even tell where the stuff's coming from that you're buying, because it's not got the red tractor logo on in any of their shops, which is just a shame. Anyway, there's a little rant about Sainsbury's. But why it affects me is, if they can't afford to reduce eggs, they won't have chickens. If they don't have chickens, there's no one to eat my wheat. If there's no one to eat my wheat, then the price is going to come down. It's obviously all supply and demand. So every sector's linked to each other. Like, I want a high price for my wheat because I need to make a profit. But equally, the guys buying the poultry feed don't want to pay a lot for the wheat because they're not making a profit. But the people up there are always making a profit because they basically buy it at one price, add the margin and sell it for the other price, and that's just how it is. But we have to be price takers and price setters. Andy's been doing this up for the neighbour because he's working on a job in Scotland, so he needed one of these, and he got it all renewed. He's put a night heater in it now. It's so warm because it's got that huge heater heating it all up. And then it's got a little control panel there he's got to mount. It's like a greenhouse. Whereas if you'd have bought a Corvus, it comes with a heater as standard. Rob's just finishing off the wiring now, putting the panels back in after he's wired these lights on. Andrew painting them, but we decided they look better stainless. Right, see that line on the yard? That's the shadow. So today, if you stand here, it's 4 degrees. If you stand here, it's 12. It's a lovely day. Rob's just putting a bit of oil in the digger because of pipe. Which pipe was it, Rob?
The other side.
Oh, that one. Yeah, that pipe burst yesterday. I got caught, so it lost some oil. And Rich is getting the water pipe to what's going to be the upstairs. Clear blue skies, not like the last 2 days. He's been hibernating the last 2 days.
That's the best way.
Whip cows.
Right there, stay inside.
Just look at this handle on the digger. It's got a rod because the handle's on the bottom of the panel and the locking mechanism's on the top. I think it's because it's plastic and it's flimsy, so the lock's in the middle. But then if you go around this side, there's the handle. Why didn't they just put the handle there? I suppose it'd spoil the lines. Or maybe if they made it out of metal, it would have worked. Don't know. Just seems overcomplicated to me. Anyway, Rob's got it open because he's putting fuel in it, oil in it. Just swinging a basket in now to get this water pipe along again. And mag drilled through there to get through that gap. Just going to mag drill another one here now, so a little job for the mini Merlot to squeeze in. So this drill, it has a magnet on the base, and you flick a switch on the front and it sticks to the steel, and then you just, like a normal drill then. You stick it up there, flick a switch, and then it sticks to the metal. And it makes it solid, and then you can just drive it in. Rob's got the digger sorted now, he's just tidying up some of the yard with it. So that's like magneted on now, so we can just go backwards and forwards. When you're working up high, you put a chain around it as well in case the electric falls off and it comes off, but because it's in the web, it can't really go anywhere. But if you're working up there with a mag drill and the electric come off and someone was underneath and you couldn't hold it, it'd just fall to the floor. Yeah, yesterday went to Cheshire Farm Machinery to pick something up that you'll see tomorrow. Anyway, there's a little bit more of their yard because it's quite big, and yesterday's video was getting a bit long. But there's the rest of Cheshire Farm Machinery. Some Brogan dump trailers, grey or blue. Load of silage trailers. Any colour. So the blacks look really good, but once they've done a day's work, they get dirty. I think I said this the other day. Blue ones, Caverland rakes, Caverland drill, more trailers over there. What a good idea that is. You put it on your top link.
Yeah, put it on your top link pin.
And then if the trailer comes off, it snaps that. But before it snaps that, it pulls the handbrake on. And it's got a spring on it, so the trailer stops dead. They all should have that, shouldn't they? There's a 280 horsepower Agritron. It's huge. Look good actually with the grey wheels. 9 for a Caverland plough as well.
Same cam as you're putting back in it. Just about.
It's a huge tanker. Well tired as well. Slurry cap. There's these are the workshops as well. Pretty big inside. We'll have a quick walk through and look at the parts as well. Your quick tour of the workshop. Where's your tool that you said for welding? Is it? Can I see that? I'll show you something in a minute, but yeah, you've got all these machine tools here. Got the pit down there with the pink jack. A nice 9-tonner there. And then look at this beast here. It's a black Warrior, is it? Which is a Deutz. Like a boater there, must be doing some work on. John Deere, Sammy. Then they've got this fancy tool. So, say you've got like you've not greased that and it's worn out and it's got like an oval hole. They've got this tool now that automatically, actually, if you got a hole that's egg shaped, it'll weld round and round and round to make it a circle again, and then it'll drill back through so that you can repair old bushes and booms and headstocks. I presume is that the welder for
That's
it?
the welder.
And then
The rest of it in there.
that looks really expensive. So what would you call it? Like bore welding or line welding or something?
Yeah, I don't know what they call it. It's like an auto.
Like a robot that does it.
It's an auto welder and borer, because you weld on.
Weld on what you need.
You weld
and then,
3 bosses on
yeah.
and set it up, jig it up. Then you weld,
Yeah.
and then you take the welder off, the welding head off, put the borer on, and that follows the same line through.
Yeah, so you can literally just rebuild. So I can't really see on this one because the boom pivot point's back. But if you've worn that boom out there and it's gone egg shaped, you can weld it through like a spiral and then re-mill it out, and then it's like new again. Just quickly show you the stores while I'm here. So they've got loads and loads and loads of racking, and then they've even gone even further now, making it a bit bigger since they took on a Manitou agency. So got all the Manitou oils here, fan belts, all sorts of interesting bits, pipe work, bearings, and most importantly, a nice lovely heater. Anyway, Rob's going to do the birthday bumper because it's his sister's birthday and he's got an embarrassing picture of her. So here it is.
Right, you got me for today. You've got Molly Owen, who's 13, Pen Bluid Happus, and my Welsh isn't very good. Harriet Stokes, 16 tomorrow. Neil Watson, 50, from John and Ruth. Brian Taggart, no age. Tom Green, Fran Stevens, who's 16. Alfie Pearce, who's 12. And then last is my sister Kate, who's 40 today. Happy birthday. I'll see you later. And we'll get some dodgy pictures. Also, as well, scan the QR code. Sorry, Ian,
go ahead.
if to get on the birthday bumper.
And if you're going to scan the QR code and be on the bumper, make sure you do it in time, which is normally about 3 o'clock, but it could be earlier. And I'm sorry, the other day, Mark Evans, who's 60, big 6-0, and Richard Gowler, you were after I did it and I missed it. Sorry about that. You were on the next day, but that's not the same, is it? You want to be on the right day, so be early. Thanks, Rob. See you next time.